You sat quietly in the back seat, your forehead leaning against the window as the city passed by in a blur. You kept your hands tightly folded in your lap, fingers nervously twisting the edge of your dress, a habit you couldn't get rid of, no matter how hard you tried. Your heart felt heavy, almost too heavy to carry. This moment, this life, none of it felt like it belonged to you. Your mind drifted back to Mr. Wong, the only person who ever made you feel safe. He used to pat your head gently and say, "You are not a burden, you are a blessing." And you believed him because how could a man with such kind eyes ever lie? But the day he died, the air in that house changed. The warmth disappeared like it was never there. Mrs. Wong and her children never raised a hand on you, but words aren't the only way to hurt someone. Their silence, their cold glances, their whispered insults, they cut deeper. Your meals were placed separately. Celebrations didn't include you. Whenever guests came, you were asked to stay out of sight because you didn't belong to the family picture. Still, you never complained because you remembered Mr. Wong's smile, his promise to make you feel loved. But then Mrs. Wong announced your marriage like she was announcing the disposal of an unwanted item. At least this way you'll be someone else's responsibility. No comfort, no blessing, not even a goodbye hug, just a deal sealed with your life. You had heard about John Jungkook, Mr. John's son, a strict professor with a reputation for perfection. His students feared him, his colleagues respected him, and society praised him, and you were someone whose existence others tolerated. A small, clumsy, emotional girl who still slept with a night lamp on because darkness made you feel abandoned. Would he think the same? Would he look at you the way Mrs. Wong's children did, like an inconvenience? Your fingers tightened around your dress. Maybe this wasn't love, maybe this wasn't destiny, maybe this was just another chapter of enduring silently, because that's what you were taught to do. Keep quiet, don't demand love, don't expect kindness, just survive. As soon as you stepped out of the car, Jungkook was already there, standing straight, hands behind his back, his expression unreadable. He wasn't glaring, but his eyes studied you the way someone studied a stranger they suddenly have to share their life with. You still remember how he didn't kiss your lips during the vows, but your forehead, and you still didn't understand what that means. Long drive. You blinked, expecting a colder comment. You nodded shyly. The traffic was a bit heavy. I'm sorry if you don't need to apologize. He paused, swallowing silently. I was just waiting. A strange awkwardness lingered, like neither of you knew what to say. He came before you because there was some paperwork that needed to be done before you guys finally start living here. You clutched your bag tighter, trying to appear composed. Jungkook noticed the worry flickering in your eyes and looked away before those emotions could reach him. He opened the mansion door himself, not waiting for staff, and stepped aside slightly. Come inside, it's cold. You whispered a small thank you under your breath. Inside the house was grand, yet emotionally empty. At the staircase, Jungkook finally spoke again, this time struggling to sound gentle, but all he knew was blunt honesty. I know today is overwhelming. He inhaled a slow breath. We don't know each other well, but we will find a way to make this work, okay? You looked up at him, surprised. It wasn't warm, but it wasn't cruel. I'll do my best. He nodded once, eyes softening just a bit. That's enough for now. Then he took one small step back, giving you space, but also creating distance. Your room is at the end of this hallway. If you need anything, just let me know. His tone wasn't loving, but it showed he wasn't heartless, just unsure, just guarded, just a man marrying a girl he didn't understand yet. The sun peeked shyly through your curtains, sprinkling soft light on your face as you sat up on the bed, yawning like a sleepy child. It was your third day in the John mansion. And like every morning, you wanted to prove that you belonged here. You tiptoed into the kitchen, determined to make breakfast for your husband. Something simple, scrambled eggs and toast that shouldn't go wrong, right? You sang quietly as you flipped the toast, proud of yourself, until a sudden whoosh made you jump. Flames licked the edge of the toast on the pan. Oh no, no, no. Please, please don't burn. You panicked. You blew frantically at it like a candle. That only made the flame grow bigger. The fire alarm screamed. You froze terrified. Jungkook appeared in the doorway, hair still damp from a shower, wearing a crisp shirt and looking like the definition of morning ruined. He rushed to turn off the stove and alarm, then slowly turned to you, raising his eyebrows. Not anger, fear, but fear disguised as irritation. Why were you touching the stove if you don't even know how to cook properly? Your hands gripped your shirt nervously. I just thought maybe I could make you breakfast so you would be happy with me. His eyes closed briefly, like those words hurt him rather than softened him. He spoke again, sharper this time. You could have burned yourself. Do you even think before acting? You flinched, the hurt carving its place deep inside. Your voice came out small, barely heard. I thought it wasn't that hard. He exhaled loudly and ran a hand through his damp hair. Not hard. You triggered a fire alarm in the first 10 minutes of the morning. Tears filled your eyes, but you blinked them away quickly. You didn't want him to see. You didn't want him to think you were crying for sympathy. You swallowed the lump in your throat. I'm sorry, I just wanted to do something nice. His expression wavered for a moment, guilt, but he turned away to hide it. Doing something nice shouldn't risk bodily harm. God. He grabbed the fire extinguisher from the corner and placed it on the counter, unnecessarily, but his hands needed something to do. He stopped then, finally looking at you again. There was a crack in his voice, one he couldn't control. If something happened to you, I. He cuts himself off harshly, rebuilding his walls. Next time, call the staff. Don't try this alone. You stare at him. Something happened to you. Was he mad because he was worried about something would happen to you? That question lingered unanswered. You lowered your head again, voice trembling. I didn't know I would trouble you so much. He stiffened, your tone, your trembling shoulders, your shrinking presence. It hit him harder than the fire alarm had. He stepped closer, not too much, just enough to make sure you heard him clearly. I didn't mean it like that. I'm not mad. He swallowed. I just don't want you to hurt. Understand? Your chest tightened painfully. You nodded without looking up. He sighed again, softer, tired, and took out new bread to make breakfast himself. You stood there like a guilty shadow. Every second of his silence felt suffocating. You can sit. You don't have to keep standing like I'm interrogating you. But your voice came broken. I think I'll go to my room. He turned to stop you, but too late. Your soft footsteps disappeared into the hall. Jungkook stared at the empty doorway, jaw clenching. He whispered to no one. I didn't want to make her cry. You stayed in your room for a while, quietly wiping your tears, but your heart kept whispering, try again. He will see your efforts one day. So you tried. Later, you found him in the living room grading papers. You thought maybe coffee would make his day better. You carried two mugs, hands shaking slightly, trying so hard not to spill. But your sock slipped on the smooth floor, the mugs tilted, and hot coffee splashed over Jungkook's papers and partly on his sleeve. He instantly stood up, chair screeching. Oh, for wine! He shouted. You froze, horrified, mouth open but words failing. He hurriedly checked your hands first to see if you were burned. They weren't. Relief flickered in his eyes, but then anger swallowed it. He grabbed the drenched papers and slammed them on the table. Why can't you be careful? Why do you always rush into things? I just wanted to help you. Help? You call this help? My student's work is ruined now. You bowed your head in shame, tears threatening again. I'm sorry. He walked away to change, fists clenched. You stare at the spilled coffee. Why can't you do anything right? Later, a delivery boy arrived with a package for Jungkook filled with important research journals. You signed for it happily, trying to handle at least one responsibility well, but you didn't check the name properly. And the journals went to the wrong house, the neighbor's. When Jungkook realized it was already evening and the neighbor wasn't home, he breathed heavily, pacing the hallway. These journals were rare publications. I needed them tonight. How can you be so careless? I thought it was the right. I didn't mean to. You never mean to, but it always happens. Those words stabbed you straight in the chest. I don't understand why do you act like a child. You create problems everywhere you go. I'm tired of cleaning your mess all the time. Your heart fell to your stomach. You whispered, I didn't know. I'm such a burden. He froze. Those words, your trembling lips, the way you hugged yourself like you were shrinking away from existence. Jungkook's anger cracked, but he didn't know how to fix it. He ran a frustrated hand through his hair and looked away. Just stop trying to help. You only make things worse. You sucked in a shaky breath, stabbed straight through. You nodded slowly, heartbreakingly. Okay, I'll stop. You sat in your dark room, hugging your knees, trying not to sob too loudly. You whispered to the emptiness, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for being like this. I'm sorry for existing wrong. Your breath hitched. The light stayed on because darkness still terrified you, but this time you were scared of yourself too. Down the hallway, Jungkook sat on the sofa, hands clenched in his hair. He wasn't proud of the words he said. He replayed every moment, every accident, every tear you shed, and guilt clawed at him harder than anger ever did. He whispered under his breath, why do I feel bad? Why does she make me feel like this? For the first time, his heart hurt, but he didn't know why. Not yet. That evening, Jungkook sat with his father in the home office. Mr. John removed his glasses and spoke in a tone filled with a father's seriousness, a friend's promise, and a human's regret. She didn't grow up the way you did, son. She never had someone to guide her, to love her correctly. Jungkook frowned, confused. What do you mean? His father sighed deeply. She was abandoned as a baby. The system took her in, but orphanages are not kind. Then Wong Hyung adopted her. You know that part, but not the rest. Jungkook remained silent, now listening. He was told that you were Mr. Wong's daughter. You were adopted. He didn't know that. After he died, his wife and children treated her like a maid. She worked for everything food, clothes, attention, affection. No one ever taught her how to live or how to be loved. Jungkook's chest tightened painfully. Her childishness is not immaturity, Jungkook, it is survival. She acts like that because a part of her is still that little girl who never got a real childhood. Jungkook stood still, stunned. And before Wong Hyun died, he begged me to protect her. You two married because I made a promise, not because she was a burden, but because she deserved a life where she wasn't treated like one. Jungkook's breath hitched, guilt stabbing him deeper than any sharp words he had used on you. He left the room without a word. Your room door was slightly open, just like always. He entered quietly. The lights were still on. You were curled into a ball on top of the blankets, hugging your pillow tightly as if it was the only thing keeping you safe. He walked closer. Then he saw your cheeks streaked with dried tears. His heart dropped. He felt something inside him crumble, a regret so heavy it stole his breath. He sat on the bed slowly, staring at you. Your eyelashes were still wet at the tips, your breathing uneven like you had cried yourself to sleep. Carefully, almost like he was scared to break you, he reached out and brushed a finger under your eye. You flinched in your sleep, instinctively afraid of touch. His throat tightened. He whispered, barely audible, I'm so sorry. He brushed your hair away from your forehead. I yelled at you. I hurt you. When all you ever try to do is make me smile, I'm the one who should be ashamed. His fingertips lingered on your hair, gently, like a silent apology. You shivered then, and he noticed your fingers tightly clutching your wrist. He slowly took your hand and froze. Your fingers were ice cold. A worried frown appeared between his brows. Why are you so cold? He sighed softly. You must be terrified of sleeping alone every night. He didn't think twice. He slipped under the blanket behind you and gently pulled you into his arms. Your back pressed against his chest, warmth melting into your skin. His arms wrapped around you carefully, protectively like you were fragile glass. You stirred awake, groggy and confused. Jungkook, you tried to pull away. What are you doing here? He tightened his embrace, not letting you escape. No, stay here. You swallowed, heart racing, afraid he was angry again. He rested his chin on your shoulder, his voice deep and close to your ear. I'm not mad. Softening further, his breath warm against your skin. I'm the one who is sorry. You blinked, tears gathering again. Did something happen? Did I cause any trouble? His arms wrapped tighter as if protecting you from your own thoughts. You didn't. You are not trouble. Those words, you had waited your whole life to hear something like that. You slowly relaxed into him, and he felt that. He held your cold hands between his, warming them slowly. His voice dropped again, softer than moonlight. You don't have to prove anything to me. You don't need to try so hard. Just be here. Tears slipped from your eyes again, but this time they fell into his arm. He pulled you even closer, chest pressed to your back, leaving no space for doubt. Do you really not hate me? He inhaled sharply, almost hurt by the question. Then he turned you gently to face him. His eyes were raw, open, vulnerable. I never hated you, not even for a second. Your lips parted in surprise, eyes wide and wet. He brushed your tears with his thumb, whispering, I'm the one who didn't understand you, but I will now, I promise. You stared at him, seeing a man who had suddenly broken his own walls just to reach you. He slowly guided your head onto his chest, his heartbeat loud and steady under your ear. His hand stroked your hair rhythmically, soothing, reassuring. He murmured into your hair, You don't have to be afraid anymore. I'm here. If silly things make you smile, then do them. If you're clumsy, be clumsy. If you're childish, he paused and lightly smiled. Be childish, just don't hide from me again. Your throat choked up. Really? You won't get annoyed? He tilted your chin up with a finger. I'll learn because I want to learn you. The room went silent, a soft kind of silence, the kind that protects. And for the first time since your marriage, you fell asleep in someone's arms, loved, protected, wanted. Jungkook kept holding you long after sleep claimed you, because the truth hit him painfully and beautifully at the same time. He didn't want to let go. You finally believed it. Maybe opposites do attract, not because they are different, but because they fill the spaces the other is missing.